これだいぶ出てるね。負けよ。待てよ。おい出てよ。
Swordfish is a type of marlin classified in the swordfish family of the sailfish order. This is one of the largest marlin species and is caught for food. It is the only extant member of the swordfish family and the only species in the swordfish genus. The fossil fish genus Protosphaerina is morphologically similar but not closely related. The English name, swordfish, comes from its long, flat snout that resembles a double-edged knife. The species name, gladius, comes from the double-edged sword gladius used in ancient Rome. Adults are large fish with a total length of 4 meters and a weight of over 300 kilograms, making them one of the largest marlin species. Additionally, females are larger than males. Like other marlin fish, its body is spindle-shaped, the upper jaw is long, forming a powerful snout. However, it differs from other marlin species in that its snout is vertically flat and very long compared to its body, and its eyes are large compared to its head, which is where the name, eye marlin, comes from. Quote. In addition to scales and pelvic fins, adult fish have no teeth, the cross-section of the body has almost no edges, the dorsal fin of adult fish is sickle-shaped, the base is short, the tail peduncle has a pair of horizontal ridges. Instead of two, may be mentioned. Because of these differences, while all other modern marlin species are classified in the family Marlinidae, only one species of swordfish is classified in the genus Swordfish in the monotypic family. Widely distributed in tropical and temperate waters around the world. The suitable water temperature range for survival is 18 to 22 degrees Celsius, but it can live in a wide range of temperatures from 5 to 27 degrees Celsius, and can even be found in low-temperature waters where species other marlin fish cannot survive. They live in the surface and middle layers of the ocean and swim alone without forming groups. Although they sometimes swim or jump with their dorsal fins above the water's surface, they also plunge into the depths of the ocean to catch food. It is a carnivore, preferring squid but also eating other fish and crustaceans. They are aggressive and will attack boats, large fish, whales, etc. The breeding season is from summer to fall. They lay individual floating eggs. Juveniles have teeth. The base of the dorsal fin extends to the back half of the body, but as they grow older, the teeth disappear and the dorsal fin changes into a sickle shape. It is caught with tuna fishing lines and poles. There have been cases of death and injury due to long snouts while fishing. Fresh meat is pale pink but becomes opaque when frozen. Although the flavor is said to be inferior to marlin, it is used for sashimi, simmering, frying, muniere, as well as canning and kamaboko. This is a big fishing game where you catch marlin, the largest fish in the world. This is an interesting type of fishing in which you run the boat at a speed of about 15 kilometers per hour, set up 4 or 5 fishing rods and drop a large bait designed specifically for marlin to get the fish to bite. The most commonly caught marlin in Okinawa is the blue marlin, which has an average size of about 100 kilograms. Other types of marlin and white marlin are also available. If the timing is right, it is not uncommon to catch 2 to 3 marlin in a day. Monster-level marlin weighing over 300 kilograms will also migrate. Down-pointing arrow list of blogs about large marlin caught to date. More than 150 kilograms of marlin fish. The moment it hits, the loud click of the reel rang out, the marlin flew at unbelievable speed, jumping, tailing and dancing its giant body above the water. Immediately, the fishing line was pulled hundreds of meters away, and at this speed it was extremely powerful. I was so excited that I was so overwhelmed that my mind went blank. The fighting time before catching the fish is about 30 to 90 minutes depending on the size of the marlin and different conditions. You can fight to the end by yourself, or if you go in a group, everyone can take turns fighting. Initially, giant fishing reels such as Pen were the mainstream products for marlin fishing in Western countries, but in recent years, the performance of Shimano, Daiwa and domestically produced fishing reels has been improved. Even light shots are enough for advanced players. Evolved into a casual fishing game. Marlin fishing is definitely not something you see on TV or in games. Even beginners with no fishing experience can catch marlin if they try hard. Tourists generally accepted the challenge and easily caught a marlin. There are quite a few achievements. Troll fishing does not require placing bait or catching bait on a swaying boat like regular fishing. The boat runs continuously, so you're less likely to get seasick than regular offshore fishing, and even beginners can do it. Easily target big fish. I want more people to enjoy marlin fishing on the main island. Marlin is the general term for large carnivorous fishes classified in the order Perciformes and suborder Marlin. Its distinctive appearance is its sword-like upper jaw and sharp snout. There are two main types of swordfish in Marlin, which can be cooked and eaten as sashimi, grilled, boiled or fried. By the way, although it is a fish with lean meat similar to tuna, it is not a member of the tuna family and there is no fish called Marlin tuna. In waters near Japan, they live in the warm waters of the Pacific Ocean and the southern part of the Sea of Japan and have a season from spring to summer. It is also a popular fishing fish, and in places like Okinawa, where you can catch it all year round, experiential fishing tours are organized and it is becoming increasingly popular. Places and spots where you can catch marlin. Where can I go marlin fishing? A thorough introduction to points, times, costs, and popular experience tour rankings. Many beginners interested in fishing may wonder, where can I fish for marlin? As mentioned above, this is a fish that prefers warm waters but can be caught in many areas such as Tokyo Bay, Hachijo Island, Izu Peninsula, Sagami Bay and coastal waters of western Japan. Among them, Okinawa is known as one of the famous places for marlin fishing and there are experience tours that you can participate in as an activity. In addition, because marlin fish live in waters with a depth of about 3 kilometers to 5 kilometers, fishing by boat or fishing boat is the basic method. Many people want to know information like when is the best season to catch marlin? Or, when is the best season to catch marlin? Which month is the best time to catch marlin? We get a lot of inquiries so we're getting back to you. Essentially, there is a history of year-round marlin fishing, and since it varies from year to year, it is not possible to limit the month. This is a recommended time for recreation at sea. Additionally, a marlin fishing tournament is held every month in April, May, and June, so all the marlin anglers in Okinawa go marlin fishing. This will be the peak season. Okinawa usually enters its rainy season in May, but in reality we have had a lot of rainy seasons so far, and like last year, this time of year has little rain, is neither hot nor cold, and is very pleasant. Waste time. I think this is the best marlin fishing season of the year, with few storms and rough seas. Even if it rains, it won't affect your marlin fishing results, and you can rest in Tsurumaru's cabin, which has a canopy and splash shield to protect you from the rain. Also, if you are aiming for a big fish over 150 kilograms, go in spring and autumn. There are more results from March to April and from September to October. As expected, May and June are the best months. We look forward to your challenge. Marlins are migratory fish that live in the open ocean, and during the spring to summer breeding season, they tend to approach waters 3 to 5 kilometers from the coast. It is said that the best marlin fishing season is when coastal seawater temperatures reach 22 degrees Celsius or higher. In areas like Okinawa, which is known as a famous marlin fishing destination in Japan, you can enjoy marlin fishing in all seasons, spring, summer, fall and winter. Marlin is a popular fishing fish for intermediate to advanced anglers. Many beginner anglers may have questions like how to catch marlin, and what is the best way to fish for marlin. From here, we will explain how to fish for marlin, marlin fishing equipment, and marlin fishing equipment. How to fish for marlin. Marlin fishing is often done using a method called trolling. Trolling is a method of catching fish by hanging a fishing line into the sea while sailing a fishing boat or cruiser. You can catch a variety of fish species depending on the season, including large fish such as marlin and tuna, as well as tuna and Spanish mackerel. To catch marlin, a sturdy fiberglass fishing rod is suitable. Additionally, it is recommended to use a twin reel that can spool about 1,000 meters of line, fishing line, weighing 80 pounds. There are two main types of marlin fishing equipment, those that use live bait and those that use bait. In trolling, using live bait is called live bait trolling, and using artificial bait, lure, is called bait trolling. There are unique tricks when fishing for marlin, such as tying about 6 feet of 60-pound nylon or fluorocarbon line and hooking up a 130-pound leader to avoid The Key Peninsula, centered on Shionomisaki, is the third area with a stable flow of the Kuroshio Current, after Okinawa, Yonaguni and the Kagoshima, Takara Islands, and is also an area with a steady flow of the Kuroshio Current. The natural environment has a long season and is influenced by the low water temperature zone in the east. In addition to the Marlin fishery, most warm water fish species migrate along the border between the Kuroshio Current and coastal waters. Two vantage points are located about 2 to 3 nautical miles away. In fact, if you look at the Katsura billfish tournament held every year, there are a lot of strikes and catches within 2 to 3 nautical miles of the Shionomisaki coast, and if you are more than 10 nautical miles from shore, the spots are the best will move to the boundary of the mainstream. During the rainy season, the main Kuroshio Current tends to move south due to the influence of rainfall. However, in other seasons it often comes close to shore, and from late July to early September, the Kuroshio Current tends to move gradually farther south. Coast, and from late July to early September, the main flow of the Kuroshio Current tends to move away from the shore to the south. The results are huge. Based on the above, when the mainstream of the Kuroshio is close to shore, I think that if you aim at a spot of varying water temperature in the cobalt blue water 2 to 3 nautical miles away, you will have a high probability of hitting that. In addition, the area about 2 to 3 nautical miles from Cape Shiono has a depth of more than 1,000 meters offshore, forming a continental shelf line with a depth of 200 meters. For this reason, the appearance of many plankton due to rising water currents is also a favorable factor. On the western side of the Key Peninsula, the continental shelf is roughly east-west shaped, with tides tending to form in an east-west direction. If you are a fish farmer wondering where the trolls are, why not try aiming along this continental shelf at depths of 200 meters to 500 meters. When fishing for marlin, you are lucky if you catch one a day. You cannot maintain concentration in a situation where you don't know when you will catch a fish. It's okay if it's early in the morning, but after lunch a little earlier, you'll probably sleep a lot, and if you're unlucky, most of the time you won't even notice that a marlin is approaching. However, if you know your timing, you will be able to see more marlin and increase your chances of hitting and hooking. I think everyone has experienced that no matter what kind of fish you catch in any sea, there are times when you can catch it and times when you can't. The same goes for marlin fishing. Sometimes you have a high chance of catching fish and sometimes you don't. This period of high probability is called time. There are certain timing rules based on high tide and low tide times. Even when the tide changes slightly, the chance of a hit is very high for about 90 minutes before and after tide, and for 1 hour before and after tide. It is known that the time of high tide, after low tide and before high tide is when the probability of collision is especially high. It's true that there are plenty of times when you'll see a marlin or get a bunch of radio calls this time of year. When you think of marlin in general, do you think of the Southern Ocean and hot summers? But that's not all. The Sanriku coast is so rich that it is said to be one of the 3 largest fishing grounds in the world. Nutrient-rich currents from the north and the warm Kuroshio Current compete with each other, creating large amounts of plankton, attracting many small fish as well as migratory fish that prey on them. Migrated off the coast of Mount Kinka. I think the reason the fishing results are better than other areas is because there are many hungry marlin fish. In the winter of 1995, we received news that more than 300 fish were caught in a single day at 4 Sotobo ports in Chiba Prefecture. There are no fishermen pulling boats off the coast of Mount Kinka. So how can they catch their catch, such as marlin, using drift nets? By the way, I heard that about 2,000 marlin fish, between 5 and 6 years old, were brought to Shiogama Market on a fishing trip. Currently there are no drift nets. Fishing boats in this area target swordfish, so there are only a few enthusiasts fishing for marlin and black marlin, so I think there will be quite a few masu fish. In July 1995, I truly experienced the abundance of fish off Mount Kinka. Because the current changed significantly that day, the 5-member boat spread out and set the destination at around 10 o'clock. 7 miles southeast of Mount Kinka. This is a sea where tides of different colors compete fiercely with each other. As soon as I deployed the rod and let the bait flow, the black kawara started biting. Those who didn't know they were about to catch fish ran out of bait, so they got excited. If you start pulling the bait in the ocean with no one around, the marlin may hit it even while you are preparing the bait. This appears to be because marlin quickly detect boats entering the area, they quickly show interest and approach the boats. However, for marlin, giant boats are interesting but they do not consider them as bait. Giant entities similar to boats are whales and floaters, but whales and floaters often have tuna or larvae attached to them, so boats are floaters that indicate the presence of bait. It is said that marlin fish migrate by sensing nebulae several miles away. Seabirds appear to be spotting Nabla's sardines 10 miles away. Fishermen with good eyesight can spot a tuna miles away and chase the tuna. Considering that, it's no surprise that a marlin can detect the sound of a nabla 10 miles away. In general, fish appear to detect sounds, waves, underwater using an organ called the lateral line on the side of their body, but the second half of the marlin's lateral line is buried inside the body and does not appear to have many effects. However, the marlin's body has two very thick nerves running all the way to the top, making it a giant sensory organ. The shape of the building also resembles a trumpet, making it easy to amplify small sounds. The amplified sound is captured by the nerves, and the structure of the building, integrated with the skull, allows vibrations to stimulate the brain directly. Additionally, swordfish, which move secretly deep in the ocean where light cannot reach, require even larger sensory organs, which may be why they have huge buildings. Giant accounts for nearly half of its total length. There are two types of lures, one that just pulls the lure directly with the line from the boat's boom or tow line, and one that pulls the lure by attaching it between the line and the lure. Pull bait teasers are often birds similar to planes, and bird chains are made by stringing many small birds together. There are many types of tow ropes that are pulled with a rope, such as a single rope or multiple ropes. Abroad, only bait is pulled by rope, and bait is rarely pulled by birds. In Japan, the traditional fishing method of pulling bait with wooden planes and rabbits has been established for a long time, and the fishing method of pulling bait with birds and planes has also been established for a long time for marlin. As mentioned above, it appears that the marlin's hitting point is created at the back of the trailer, but if there is no lure there, the marlin will likely hit the back of the trailer's body introduced. I'm guessing from here, but marlins often crash into fishermen's planes. Anglers use bait lines 8 to 15 meters long and do not have the lure directly behind the bird. On recreational boats, the leader is usually around 4.5 meters, so you could say that the lure is right behind the teaser. Even on pleasure boats, if the lure line is long, birding can be easier. Judging from that, it appears that the effectiveness of the teaser varies depending on whether the lure is in the correct position immediately behind the teaser being pulled by the line. If you pull the bait with the line directly in front of a short corner bait or a long corner bait, the marlin will likely hit the bait instead of the bait. Also, if you pull the lure right behind the chain bird, the movement of the lure may not be as important. This is because the last bird in the chain to be attacked by a marlin often flips over, jumps, and runs wildly. It does not swim as cleanly as a lure. You might think that marlins, which have become more active with leashed birds, would jump at anything. In addition to its role in announcing the presence of marlin bait in the sea, the trailer also has another important role. Its role is to increase the activity of marlin, which does not like to eat and attract it. The same thing happens with tuna, and it is said that the more you press the bait, the more active they become. By creating a large number of decoys as well as some birds as decoys, it seems to play an important role in increasing the activity of marlin that is reluctant to eat and
疲れました。昨日寝てないそうで、仕事で。いや、頑張りました。お疲れ様です。
Both trailers were pulled to attract the marlin to bite the bait. For example, if a boat can release 20 decoys, then the decoys alone are enough to serve as bait. Additionally, even if you only hand out one lure, if you draw enough of the trailer properly, it will have the same appeal to attract marlin as if you put out 5 lures. If there is only one boat in a large quiet area, a few decoys may be enough to tease, but if there are 20 or 30 boats in the same area, such as in a tournament, there may be a relative technique to win. Gain an advantage over other boats by casting more bait and lures than other boats. Recently, teasers using electronic sounds to attract marlin fish are also being released. It is thought that two nerves run through the marlin's body to detect sound and vibration, and that the sensory organ can produce resonant wavelengths. The effectiveness of this compared to similar trailers will likely be demonstrated in the future. There is a tenuous relationship between the teaser itself and the relationship between the teaser and the lure, and just as we do not understand marlin even after studying various literature and techniques, these relationships are often unknown. However, teasers are designed to be as effective as bait or even more effective in attracting marlin. When playing with birds and teasing them, you should clearly understand their roles and characteristics so that you can use appropriate teasers depending on the situation.